Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and it's been about a week and a bit since I've done a vlog, and I've done loads as usual. I think one of my students called me a machine for sewing, but I think it's because the kids were back to school and I had a bit of time to myself, and then I had the course that was coming up, and then plus this vlog really does help me, you know, I don't know, focus on what I want to do and not just flit around between projects. I'm actually getting the things done, which is great. And then the sewing bee. Oh, so much to talk about. Oh, so exciting. Anyway, so what did I do this week? I made this top. So I have on, this is a petal sleeve top, and it's on the Love Sewing magazine website. It was in one of their issues, and I saw it ages and ages ago and thought I really want to do this. But it was an A4 pattern, and I was just like, oh gosh, I can't be sticking them together. No, just couldn't handle sticking them all together. So what I did was I stuck them together, the A4 ones, to make an A0 using the PDF stitch wrap. I spoke about that in my last vlog. I'll put the link below to get that. Fair play to the lady, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, who actually made it. She's a coder, and she did it open source, and so it can be used by anybody for free. It's not up on an app store or anything. So she does has a like a Ko-fi page, so you can give her a few bob to say thanks, because I'm telling you, this is brilliant. It's just changed the way I get patterns now, because I no longer am restricted by A0 or printed patterns. So A4 ones I had written off completely. But anyway, enough waffle about that. So this one is the petal sleeve top. Now that's the Harper I have on, which is pretty filthy because the kids have been at me. I'll just take this off and you can see. If I step back, you can see there I have some photographs on my grid. Been wearing it for the last few days. I think I'd make the sleeve a little bit longer because I'm not 100% happy about the height of that sleeve, but you know what, that's a simple adjustment. Just, you know, lengthen the sleeve a little bit. And I won't lie, I mucked up on the sleeves several times, and like, I remember seeing a thing, it was like a manual for sewing in the 50s, and saying that, you know, have all your housework done and have everything tidy and organized around you and have a clear mind before you sit down to sew. It is so true, because I think I was on a bit wired and a bit tired after watching the sewing bee and said, right, I'm going to make that top. And I sat down to do it, and I put on the sleeve inside out. Yep, I sewed the sleeve on inside out. Unpicked it, grand. Put it back on. I sewed it upside down. At that point, I threw it in the pile and walked away. And it was fine then when I went back to it. Just got my cardigan back on. A bit nippy. It was fine when I went back to it then. I did it, no bother. So it is true. You have to kind of sometimes give yourself a little bit of time and be in the right frame of mind to actually sit down and sew. But I'm delighted I did this. I think I'll make another one. The only other adjustment I did, I lowered the bust darts by 1 inch. Possibly it needs a small full bust adjustment, but I don't know. I think I'll get away with it. It's not too bad. There's not too much pulling here and gathering under the arm, so it's grand. The other one I made this week is this. And I was talking about this in my last vlog. And this is the thread on it. First of all, the fabric. This fabric is from our shop. So it's a Viscose Challis that we have in stock. But this was from the fabric swap that myself and Gillian from Worthy Design Studio did last October now. God, it feels like forever ago. And this was given to me by Sandy So-Sos. And I think it's a Lady McElroy fabric, if I remember my fabric well. And this pattern, I had intended on doing it anyway. I wanted to do like a shift top version of the Carnaby dress that I had made for Frugal Frocks. That's a Nina Lee pattern, and basically that's what I made. And all I did was add 1 inch onto the bottom for a hem. Didn't add on the skirt bit. There's no pockets. Darts are in the same place. And on the back, instead of putting a zip in, I put the button in. That was like the button on the Great British Sewing Bee. And I put that up. I put a picture up, and you can see, because I have a picture of the detail of that. Now that was a bit of a pain to do. I made the tab first and then put it in on the sewing bee. Now myself and my mother watched this. This is the bee, and like we were watching it go, she's going over the pins. Oh my God, look at what he's doing. You know, we were kind of commentating. We were kind of having a bit of crack watching it. But both of us were like, all of them are putting their buttonhole on after they attach the tab and mucking it up. Now, that took me 3 goes purely because it wasn't big enough here, so it wasn't catching under the feed dogs. And I lowered the pressure down a little bit, and that helped it feed through because it was quite, like, it's small and bulky. It's like doing the bottom button on something. The bottom button is always tricky to do. But there's no way I would put all of this underneath for doing a button. That's a vintage button, by the way, in my jar of vintagey buttons. I think that might have been from my Auntie Coggy's bag of buttons when she passed away. Mum gave me a load of her sewing stuff. So I'm in 2 minds over this. I liked it first when I saw this button tab, but I think now I'm thinking it looks a bit clunky because the one I have on the back of this is just a rouleau loop, and it's just a nice different thing. I don't know if I'll be doing it in future because it was a bit of a pain, more so than a rouleau loop, but we'll see. I'll have a think about it. Overall, the fit, I forgot to do my shoulder. Look at the threads, disgraceful. I forgot to do my narrow shoulder adjustment, so it looks too boxy on me. So I have a feeling I'll either take it apart here and bring it in, or give this to my sister maybe and make another one with a narrow shoulder adjustment. But everything else in it, I really love it. It's a basic shift top. We did these on a sew along at the first lockdown. That was in Ireland, like last April 2020, and it was the Angela Kane pattern that we used. I've done loads of these shift tops. I wouldn't call it a shell top. Okay, don't even get me started on names that they were calling everything in the sewing bee. That's a whole other ball game altogether. So yeah, I call this a shift top, not a shell top. Shell, I think of shell suits, track suits, you know, that boxers wear to drop weights and stuff. Anyway, so that I just finished that the other day, and it sits lovely. I'm delighted with it, bar the sleeve, so I think I'll just adjust that, or else I might be generous and give it away to someone. Other things I made, we'll talk about the sewing bee a bit more. Oh yeah, I did write down that Claire Louise Hardy, she was the producer in the first, second and third, I think, sewing bees. She did a pattern, and it's called a tunic top. I think that's in the second bee book, and that's a really nice pattern as well. I've done that one. And then the sew over it shift top, that's a good one if you want to try doing this pattern and you don't have the Nina Lee one. And then the Angela Kane one is actually a free pattern. I would say the Angela Kane one is a little bit oversized, and it is a tile together thing, but now we have the app, so that's grand. So I'll put these in the things below. Then I made these 2 more shirts. So I finished off my Alex. That is in that lovely Tencel challis. Delighted with it. And my buttons, and my lovely button tabs. Haven't actually worn it yet. And then I put a little label on it there, perfectly imperfect. So I'm delighted with that. And then I made one using, again, the other fabric that I got from the fabric swap. And I'm really happy with this. I've worn this a good few times. I have a few masks to match as well, the usual, you know. And I put on these buttons. Can you see them? I love these buttons. These are vintage buttons I have. I have a big bag of vintage buttons. I need to put them up online. If you ever want buttons to match, I do, you know, you can just email me or send me a message, because I do have lots of bags of buttons that I haven't put up. They're usually at the markets, you see. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And it's nice and comfortable. I did a size 12 for anybody who's doing this. It's quite oversized, and I didn't want it too big on me because it tends to make me look a bit bustier. And a nice little vent detail on the back. Really love this pattern. The only thing that I did find about it, if you're doing the A0 one, it doesn't have the placement of the tab on the A0 pattern, but it does on the A4 printout. So I just used the images and had a good guesstimate of where this tab should be placed on the inside, which should be 1.5 inches from the end seam. So from the end, 1.5 inches up is your placement along the shoulder seam. And that worked out fine. So for anybody who has that A0, more threads, oh, disgrace. I need to cut those threads. The label I used on that one is that Perfectly Imperfect label from Kylie and the Machine. And I did use the label on this one. I just thought, oh, it's so cute. A little side label. And it says cute AF, and it's in like turquoise. Oh, I just love it. So I've opened a packet of these for me. So I'm going to put these on a few things. It's just a nice little side label. Because this has the facing on it, you can't really put a label on the back. And I think that's just really, because it is cute AF. And it comes in pink and like a rusty colour and a gold, like a copper. And then I think that is a black metallic. Oh, it's just lovely. Anyway, that's my labels. There's no gin in this, trust me. Ah, just tonic. So, what else in my little notes? Kind of trying to be organised. So, this week my students told me about 2 free patterns. One is the Galaxy Tee, and that's by Pattern, Scissors and Cloth. And the other one was the Silene Tee by Glasshouse Patterns. I'm going to try them this week or next week and see what they're like. The Galaxy Tee has like a kind of a puffy, voluminous bishop sleeve. I don't know, a bishop sleeve is kind of one that goes like that. It's just here. There's gathers in that sleeve. So I think I'd like to try that. After doing the Billy, I think I'm becoming addicted to these sleeves, statement sleeves. I'm really liking them. It's like, why would you go for a plain sleeve when you can have a fab sleeve? Anyway, that one, and then the Galaxy Tee has kind of a little crop cap sleeve. So I'm going to give those 2 a go. Nice freebie pattern. I'll put the links below. Then the Sewing Bee, the second dress they did, they called it a buffet dress. Like, my mother had never heard of it. I had never heard of it. Nobody online has ever heard of it. They made up that term. I'd call it smock dress. So I'm not going to use that term because I think it's a bit silly, a silly word. Anyway, a smock dress. So I was thinking about the ones that I've done. I don't really make those ones. But then the chalk and notch fringe dress that I did, that's a buffet dress or a smock dress. See, look, it's going into our heads now. We're going to start using this word. And then the Tilly and the Buttons Indigo. I didn't make that one for myself, but I did have a lot of students and customers who made it, and it is fab. I think if you size down the bust, if you wanted a little bit more fitted, and then make the rest of it a bit more floaty. I think for myself, I find because I'm a bit bustier on top, it can just make me look a bit odd, bit lopsided or something. I just don't like the look on me, but that's just me. Okay. But there's so many of them out there, like lists and lists of them, and they're all really in fashion at the moment. But I really think with all these fashions is, don't just make it because it's the thing to make it because you like it and you want to wear it. So I made the fringe dress because I like it and I want to wear it, and I do. And I can't wait for the warmer weather to wear it again. So they were my makes and my 2 plans. And then the new Love Sewing magazine came out. I'm delighted with this. Spotted it there in my local newsagents, and it came with 3 patterns. Now, I prefer this magazine, plus now I can, do the A4 patterns that are in it. But I like it because there's some like articles and things in it that are really good, and there's some lovely patterns. I love this. I really like this dress, and I actually already know what fabric I'm going to do it in. A Lady McElroy fabric that I cut for myself, and it's sitting in my stash. But like, look at the, do they want to sell the patterns? Look at they look awful. And I was showing this to my husband. I said, look, the bodice line isn't in the right place because it's bunching there. So, but then the photographs in the magazine, gorgeous. So yeah, Butterick, you need to update your pictures. Anyway, that's just my little rant about Butterick pictures on the front. Like these are so much better, the pictures here. I think the line drawings are much better. So I really like doing this. I'm going to do it with a sleeve. I'm not one for sleeveless really in a dress because I'll end up wearing a big cardigan over it. What's the point? You won't see the dress. Then this one is like a summer tunic. I'll possibly do this. I like the V-neck because it's a grown-on sleeve. I might just possibly do the view A on that one. I think that'd be nice in the linen. And then this one is lovely, the Cocoon dress. I'm wondering, is it a bit cold? It'd be good for, it says light to medium weight woven such as cotton, linen, crepe, suiting fabric such as knits, stable knits such as ponte. When I saw that, I thought Roma ponte. That'd be lovely in a ponte. And the grown-on sleeve, I think it'd be a great one just to throw on. It's a bit like the Emma dress by Sew Over It. There's a few dresses like that. I think this would be a good one. I think I've seen a few of them online as well. Yeah, so there was lots of nice little bits. There's a bit about the sewing bee in it. I like it for the articles. There's actually good things in it to have a good read of. And there was one article. Now, I'm thinking of this. Let me find it. This one. novels with dressmaking at their heart, and I'm actually reading The Dressmaker's Gift at the moment, and I'm really enjoying that. I got a present as a Kindle for Christmas, so I'm reading that at the moment, and I just think that's cool because now I have other ones and there's little reviews of them, so that was nice. I'm really enjoying that, The Dressmaker's Gift. And there's other ones, The Dressmaker by Kate Alcott, and there's another one called The Dressmaker by Rosie Ham. So there's a few reviews in there. So yeah, I'm actually loving this. Oh, and there's a pair of tracksuit bottoms. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. There's a pair of tracksuit bottoms. And they're very like the Arden pants. But they're a bit baggier and less tapered, which I think I prefer. So, because I was just going to actually adjust the Arden pants, but there we go. I have a pair. So that's thoughts that are in my head and my makes for this week. I'm going to be putting up some little tutorials this week as well. One including is cleaning my sewing machine. Yes, my sewing machine has been shouting at me this week because it needs to be cleaned. It likes to make strange noises at me when it needs a good clean, so it's definitely screaming at me this week. So I'll record that and put it up on the channel as well for anybody who'd like to watch me clean my sewing machine, and a few tips and tricks on how to keep your machine ticking over nicely. So that's it for now, and I shall see you all soon. Bye bye. Happy sewing.